we are going to be booking some more TEW Golden Age today. Um, we added a women's division. And we brought in Luna Vachon. Um, she's going to go up against our longtime manager that hasn't had anyone to wrestle against, Wendy Richter. Um, so that is actually part of a larger tournament to crown the first women's champion, a 16 round women's championship tournament. I hired enough people, 17 to be specific, but two of them are currently out on maternity leave. So after searching all the way through everybody of local talent, there was no female wrestler talent. So Malia Hosaka is going to receive um, a bye week as the odds-on favorite to take it all. But yeah, we got Desiree versus Dump, Colonel versus Cutie, and Tasha versus Saki, as well as Luna versus Wendy. Jacqueline and Kat's gonna have to be another time. It looks like. Yeah, we got this show all the way booked up. Well, I guess we could technically do it this. Yeah, why not? Yeah, Jacqueline and Kat. Let's do it. Yeah, why not? All right. That's why not. I actually want Jackie to. Eh, doesn't have to be against Kat though. Kat, yeah, okay. Yeah, actually, yeah, that's fine. We'll show the highlights. Okay. Let's run the show and let's run Dark Side
The
of the Ring.
following is intended only for mature audiences.
Make sure you're
Viewer
mature.
discretion advised.
No immaturity here. Hope that didn't mess it up.
From this day forth, I will haunt your very breath. I will be your shadow in the darkness.
Hailing from wrestling royalty, Luna Vachon emerged as one of the Squared Circle's most unhinged and most unforgettable characters.
When you saw Luna, you were seeing a monster come to life.
Crazy, wild, satanic.
You all can keep your stinking rotten mouth shut.
Despite being consistently marginalized by a male-dominated industry, Luna was driven to push boundaries and redefine women's wrestling.
My mom was the bad girl.
Hey, what's up?
You saw her in an alley, would want to run away.
Dare to have the balls to do the
wow, a
things I
92.
do and rip my vocal cords. I'm here to say what I have to say.
Her volatile persona sprang from a traumatic upbringing
Oh,
and a
okay.
string
You'll
of
pretend to be
tragedies.
mature.
I don't think it was a very easy
you can
childhood.
stick around then.
Her father.
I see what you're saying. I didn't see your message right away.
She was a pretty young girl that took advantage of her.
While working alongside
That's
some
what the
of
wrestling
wrestling's
business
top
does.
stars, her battles with addiction and mental health became all-consuming.
She's schizophrenic. That's some serious shit.
Openers.
She would go from like, oh, thank you so much. Oh, that's so sweet to, what are you doing? What are you talking about?
Of course, she was self-medicated, sniffing yayo all day, every day. See her stay up for a month straight.
Making me sick.
The
next day, she'd be like,
set of matches.
I don't know what happened. You don't remember
DiBiase
punching this
and
guy.
Pillman showed up.
This is destruction. A cameraman just got knocked
I got a promotion to manage.
Betrayed
Yeah,
by the world
you're
she
right.
adored,
With
one
way too
final
many
act
people
of
in it.
defiance would ignite her self-destruction.
She stood up to Vince in front of everybody.
You know, she didn't want to just be boobs. She wanted to be a wrestler. That was it. That was enough. She fucking had it.
You're in pain, you're hurting, so you turn to other things, and, you know, up in flames you go.
Oh, conveniently, the contracts of Bret Hart and Road Warrior Animal, the people we need to do the next 2 episodes of Dark Side of the Ring, are coming up. Beautiful.
There are 2 ways to slide easily through life. One way to believe everything. Other to doubt it.
Luna Vachon and the Blackhearts.
I used to always think wrestling was real. Like, when you're a kid, you think it's real. Like, that's what she's always was to me. She was always Luna. Hi, my name is Van Herd, and my mom's Luna Vachon. Ever since I can remember, I was so young. The mohawk, the bleached hair, the extensions.
Very, very soon, I will wipe you from this earth.
It was nuts. Like, she would show
Great
up to my
promo.
elementary school with a snake. I just remember she came to give me a hug, and that snake almost got me.
These fucking road warriors, man. They're gonna do the death of
I
me.
was so embarrassed. I hate to say it, I was. But then it was just normal for me.
Okay.
That was my mom.
I definitely believe she loved wrestling more than she loved anything in life. Her passion truly was professional wrestling. Anything she's ever spoke to me about in her deeper, darkest hours was pro wrestling. I'm David Heath, better known as
What?
Gangrel. I've been a professional wrestler for 34 years.
That's my final.
The first time I met Luna Vachon was at a Florida Championship Wrestling show. She
87.
came in, she kicked the door open. She hollers in, "Fresh meat." She points at me. I look around, over there, and then she just slams the door and walks off. Now you got a picture. This is a girl with a mohawk, blood all out of her nose. Her tongue's like, ah, she's growling at me. So I was terrified. I didn't want anything
This
to do with
is
her.
pretty
after I
deep
met
in
her
the
that
game,
first time.
yeah.
But we became friends. So much so that
have-
we said I would never date you. I would never go out with.
I have been playing for a little over 2 years, so it started in March of '87. Catch you up a little bit. We started as Jim Cornette, and we purchased a few different promotions. Oh no, what am I? Which one am I? There we are. No. What is going on? Is this filtered? These are only dead companies. Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Of the active promotions, we bought out UWF and AWA around the same time, so I converged them and just went with the universal name because we were starting to get too big to just be Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And yeah, we're the second largest company. We're going up against Vince and Turner. But I have already kind of handicapped WCW from the start and never let them get anyone good. So we kind of just took the WCW spot more or less, pretty much. Yeah, but I've been going up against Vince. Vince is still, chugging right along. I actually won the most recent company battle, the national battle against Vince, which is really cool. So I was happy to do that. But yeah, I'm pretty far in. Let me see. I'll just do a quick title lineage. I've got Taker, who's holding the current AWA title. I took that over right after this vacancy. Nick Bockwinkel had it when I got it. Sting has been feuding with Jerry Lawler over the Southern title. And let's see, we've got Ricky Steamboat, our Smoky Mountain Wrestling champion. Ric Flair's our Universal champion. Taz got the light heavyweight title. Right now, Shane Douglas and Mick Foley, Franchise and Foley, have both sets of tag belts, and then the women's title is yet to be crowned. But we're moving through this tournament here. Got a couple more rounds for the opening. I think I can actually sign somebody and end up. Actually, yeah, I should do that because my other people are on maternity leave. But yeah, I'm gonna get a free agent to work my tournament match.
With somebody like you. She says, I would never go out with somebody like you either. And I go, good, I'm glad we agree on that. And I don't know, somewhere across the lines.
There's many faces to my mom. Her real name is Gertrude, and she used to tell me nightmare stories about how she had to stand in front of class and tell everybody her name was Gertrude. And then when they found out that her dad and her uncles were the Vachons, and they were some of the most hated tag teams ever.
Oh, the Vachon family are like wrestling royalty in Canada. I'm Mick Foley, often known as the Hardcore Legend. Luna's uncle was Maurice Mad Dog Vachon. Her aunt was Vivian Vachon. Luna's father was Paul Butcher Vachon. All of the Vachons were, you know, odd in a beautiful type of way.
Brutal chop to the neck. So Butcher Paul Vachon had his moments.
My name is Paul the Butcher Vachon, and I am the father of Luna Vachon.
Luna's origins with the Vachon family are rooted in a chance encounter following a harrowing tragedy on December 18th, 1966.
I was wrestling in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was staying at a motel, and I heard a gunshot. And at first I opened the door, looked around, and couldn't see anything. So I went back to sleep. The next morning, there was a knock at my door. And she said, the man that owned this motel shot himself. He was my husband. And I met her daughter, who was then 4 years old, who became my daughter because I married the widow. To Luna, I was the only father she ever knew.
Adopted into the Vachon dynasty, Luna is instantly enamored by her new family's celebrity status.
My aunt was one of the greatest female wrestlers of all time. She was known as the wrestling queen. I grew up going on the road and cleaning up the dressing room for her and helping her put the curlers in her hair, and that's all I wanted to do was be like my Aunt Vivian.
She wanted nothing more than to join that kind of pantheon and you know, carry on the tradition. They tried to talk her out of it. She did talk about how her family said, this is really a very hard industry for women, but there was no stopping her. My name is Janine Mioset. I used to be known as Mad Maxine or Lady Maxine. Well, I'm 6'2", and I've always been athletic, and I love costumes. I'm an extrovert. I thought, why not use what God gave me to, you know, really make a splash? I went out and got a mohawk. I think Moolah saw money in my mohawk.
The latest protege of the fabulous Moolah.
To train at Moolah's was like the equivalent of going to Harvard. I mean, she was the place that women went to become professional women wrestlers.
It is the fabulous Moolah.
Also training with the fabulous Moolah, Mad Maxine meets a teenage Luna, whose sweet demeanor is worlds away from her alter ego.
She looked like a baby face. She had this very cherubic, very sweet face. And when you would say, you should be a baby face, she would get so mad because all she ever wanted was to be like a badass heel. I had a strong sense of trepidation.
That'd be me.
Because what I saw going on at this
I was
camp,
rooting for the bad guy.
the young underage trainees, the little lambs as I think of them, you know, the naive young women who thought they could trust Moolah, thought she was like a mother figure, but then she would take advantage.
I've never really seen her afraid of anybody,
but
I know when Moolah would walk into a room, she would just shake and be super nervous and scared, like they've been beaten or something like that. So I know Moolah held a lot of power over her. Moolah would say something like, you're sleeping with me tonight, hon, or something like that. So, you know, I just heard a lot of stories like that.
She said that Moolah had sent her out to this guy in the West, and the guy said he'd pay her $500 to take photographs. She didn't know that you can't just trust people, and so she went out there. The guy attacked her, tried to rape her. She fought him off. Obviously, you can't trust a person who's going to do that to a 16-year-old girl. It's just, it was appalling. But she said, you know, Moolah's the only show in town. You've got to train with her if you want to make it in the business.
Every girl that trained with her has a Moolah story of some sort.
My name is Kim Sachs. You might also know me as Penelope Paradise. Or, better yet, the great and powerful, beautiful, but very deadly Penelope Paradise. She had such
Nice.
high hopes, and she wanted so much. I mean, she wanted to be Hulk Hogan. She wanted to be, like, the best heel there was.
Luna leaves Moolah's camp behind to join Championship Wrestling from Florida, where Kevin Sullivan and his army of darkness are terrifying fans across the state.
Kevin Sullivan had a great mind. You had to be able to draw from the same cities every single week, and you did that by getting them emotionally invested. Characters had to be on almost 24/7.
I have done some horrible things in the past.
They were not afraid to get fans upset. Really upset.
Evil and darkness has always prevailed. I saw a face of fear.
Kevin had Florida scared to death of him. Just, you know, Tampa was scared to death of him.
Pandemonium everywhere, baby.
And people thought that he was passing curses on to them, all this devil stuff, and nobody had really seen anything like that.
Okay, I'm now rereading your message, realizing you're saying you're not even familiar with TEW. I thought you were saying you weren't familiar with where I was at in the game or like the mod I was using or anything. So yeah, TEW is a booking simulator. You get to pick your character. You get to run. Yeah, I misread it. You get to run a company, and yeah, you get to like do all of the things like picking your pay-per-view provider and going and dealing with backstage incidences. In this case, he's just passing on tips to his protege, which is nice. Nick Bockwinkel and Al Snow there. And then you can do, meetings, have an open forum meeting. You can meddle between relationships. I like to try to get people to be friends with Owen Hart. A lot of people already are. Let's see. Yeah, why not? Duggan? Nope. But yeah. You can book the venues, all that kind of stuff. It's a pretty fun game. It's kind of plays like an Excel database. Um, and that's kind of how the ratings are done and all the math on the back end is done too. But it's a pretty fun game. You usually, want to get a mod for it. I used to play back in the day with like um, just the game itself, like the default database that Adam Ryland produces, with like all kinds of made up characters and stuff, all legally distinct enough from the inspirations of wrestling, kind of like the M. Dickey games, but a little bit more distinct, I would say. But yeah, it's pretty fun. Think of franchise mode in Madden, but for pro wrestling. That's literally what it is. I wish it could be better and like as refined as franchise mode, although they have messed it up in the last few years. But yeah, it's a really fun deal. I'm gonna book Luna again, and we'll talk about what we're up to with that.
But people were legitimately scared of him.
Actually,
On behalf of sports,
yeah, I'll have her squash.
In October of 1985, Luna makes her debut as an unassuming journalist, and her character quickly falls victim to the dark powers of Kevin Sullivan.
Oh my God! Oh no, he just. My mom coming out as a reporter, and then Kevin Sullivan came out and whacked her face, and all of a sudden she turned into Luna.
You know, she was considered crazy and lunatic, basically the same thing, so lunatic Luna.
And now Luna offered up everything to me. She stripped herself of vanity.
You know, she shaved her head and she put all these kind of veins on her face, and she interacted with the camera and with the fans, and in a way that was just monstrous. You know, it wasn't as though she went behind the curtains after her match and then all of a sudden she's just, Luna. She carried on the pretense that this was who she actually was.
Well, that's it for Coach's Corner.
With her new career now taking off, Luna indulges in the extreme excesses of the era.
It snowed every day in Miami in the 80s, is basically what everyone said back then. If my memory serves me correctly, it was like Quaaludes and Coke.
Snowed every day in Miami,
acid.
y'all.
She pushed every
Sounds like a good
boundary
time.
she could come across. How can you take
Can only
100
do it for
pills
so long,
a day?
though.
How do you even get 100 pills a day?
Yeah,
She wanted everything
it's a good
to
question.
look like, you know, everything was beautiful and all roses. You knew it wasn't, but that's what she tried to portray to the best of her ability.
I don't think it was a very easy childhood with her having the rest of her staying in the house. I mean, she's claimed to have been, you know, raped and stuff like that. I believe there was some inappropriate family relations, maybe.
I should have issued a trigger warning
I
before,
didn't know Vivian
before we
at
got
all.
this
I
far,
never
but
met her.
if you
She
made
didn't
it this
talk
far,
about her very much. Well, she just said that
yeah,
she was abused by her aunt. And I mean, and she just kind of basically left it at that. She didn't want people to know that.
Like a little girl could idolize, you want to do something and you want to be like somebody, they idolize something and people will use that against you. And I think that very much happened to her. I wasn't there, so I didn't see it, but with my heart, I believe some of it. And I think probably set the path of the course for some of the self-destruction later on in life, which she called love, that wasn't really love, you know.
I don't think, knowing the family that she's from, that anybody would do that. I don't believe it.
Luna Vachon's deranged antics captivated audiences, but unknown to fans, her over-the-top persona was born from a lifelong struggle with mental health outside the ring.
She was studied from the Emory University since she was 2 years old for depression and being bipolar and schizophrenia and stuff like that. So it was a roller coaster of hoop-de-hoops and loop-de-loops. Luna has this persona of being just tough badass, but really she was like the shyest person in the room. We call a lot of people call her Angel, or I call her Angel. I think that's what her dad would call her, instead of because she hated Gertrude or Trudy, you know. Like, give it 10 minutes, it's like the Florida weather. If she'd change, she'd be some other personality. There was like Angel, Trudy, Angel, you know, like, and then there was Luna.
She was chemically imbalanced.
unimportant.
She was definitely bipolar.
In her day-to-day life, you would call her Angel. And she spoke with this childlike voice, you know, and then you could be hanging out with her and she get a phone call and they piss her off, and then all of a sudden she's Luna and she's crazy for the rest of the day. I mean, one time we were in Tampa and Luna and I had to share a room, and she got into a tangent. You know, she just snapped for whatever reason. One thing led to another, and it's me and her from bed to bed. Lamps are flying. You would think we were killing each other. You know, and then now we gotta go wrestle. Even no matter how mad you get, somebody can hold you and say, okay, you got to stop. And you couldn't do that with her. She would always make a joke like, oh, I better take my little blue pill. But she knew if she was really wobbly, let's say.
It would be probably difficult to be married to her.
Yeah. But like picking Dickie wasn't the best situation.
Dirty Dick Slater.
I hear they call you Filthy Richard in parts unknown, but that's another story.
That was my first stepdad. I heard he used to beat my mom up. I never saw anything. I never even really see them fight.
I never saw them fight, ever. I never saw him lay a hand on her. I saw her with bruises after the fact, and I'm quite sure she did not give them to herself. And when they split up, you know, I was like, okay, good. You know, that's something that's out of her life.
So I met her Florida Championship Wrestling, terrified this woman, swore up, bloody nose, scared to death, fresh me. So next thing you know, I'm tagging with a fella named Tom Nash. We're doing the Blackheart thing. And it turns out that Tom knew her from school. So then down the road, a month or two or down the road or something, he goes, hey, Luna called in and she wants to go down to training with us. And I'm like, no, I don't want anything to do with her. So, but still, I don't know why, whatever, the forces of the universe, the nature, whatever. We get in there, she's in the back seat, he's sitting over here, I'm driving. And then she crawls over and she starts hitting me. Like, why don't you like me? Why don't you like me? And she's like, she rips my shirt off. And so I get to the house, the fella's name's Rusty Brooks. He had a ring in his backyard. And I don't know where, I don't know if she jumped off the top rope or where she came from, but she latched down and bit me in the middle of my back. She was on like a pit bull. I couldn't get her out. I mean, I'm like trying to reach. She's locked in there. So I end up diving through the ropes, which breaks her off me. And I got her against this tree. Oh, and he's like, no, hey, that's Dick Slater's girl. I go, she's crazy. She's bit me. You know, he goes, That's Luna, you know, chill out. So, and before that, scar healed on my back. That's why I always call her the original vampire, because before the scar healed on her back, we were best friends.
With Luna as their manager, Tom Nash and David Heath become fixtures on the independent wrestling circuit as the Blackhearts.
Listen, you worry nothing about the Snakes. You should worry about the tag team titles because they are going to be around the waist of the Blackhearts.
Tom had a big crush on her. And the next thing you know, like, they were married. Daughter, he adored her. And he did love her.
Tom Nash and my mom were married, and Tom used to go to work, and then Dave used to show up. So that's some shady shit right there.
They got in a few fights, and then he accused me of being with her, and he started talking a lot of stuff. I know you guys are together, this and that, and then he swung on me, and then I snapped. I feel really bad. I puked in the bathroom the next day at the airport when I saw what I could do to somebody.
The fallout from the fight breaks up the Blackhearts, and shortly after, Luna's brief marriage to Tom Nash also comes to an end.
I look at her as this wildflower on the side road. You ever see a beautiful wildflower just blowing in the wind? If you pick it and you cage it, it's gonna die, you know? So you just should admire it from afar for the beauty it is. She was a beautiful person, and she had a lot of love in her. She just wanted to be loved and was so misunderstood, you know, so.
So where was the wedding?
It was great, it was tremendous. It was a Halloween, so I wrestled a steel cage match that night. Came home right at midnight, and then we got married. Yeah, that set of wedding rings, we got vampire
at
rings.
midnight.
Then I got her here, there.
Interesting.
Put it on my drinking hand, so, I remember not to drink too much so she wouldn't kill me.
The newlyweds performed together across the globe with an eye to eventually breaking into the World Wrestling Federation.
She was sending stuff in for me to get booked. She was sending my stuff from Puerto Rico. It had me and her in it, and then she got hired. And I'm not gonna lie, I was like jealous and stuff like that. I was like, oh, but I was super happy for her at the same time.
On April 4th, 1993, Luna's dreams would come true as she debuts in the WWF on wrestling's grandest stage, WrestleMania.
You're watching WrestleMania, and all of a sudden your mom's coming out with Shawn Michaels, and they're at Caesar's Palace, they're outside.
Oh, this is Fire on the Mountain.
Sherry
No?
Martel
I thought I was
get
booking
into it.
TV. Okay.
I was like, oh my goodness, she did it.
That
She
snuck
did it.
up on me.
That was her dream, and there she is. She was the first female ever to be on a video game. The game was called WWF Raw. We got that whole console just for that game.
WWF Raw back in the day.
Vachon, I will be the goddess of the squared circle.
All you're doing is trying to make it as a wrestler. And then if you put in all the extracurriculars like the drugs, the depression, and the bipolar, days just run into days, and it keeps going fast. The next thing you know, it's gone.
Ricky Steamboat defeated Jerry Lawler. Okay. Let's do it again.
After 15 years of self-sacrifice and struggling in the independent territories, Luna Vachon finally reaches the pinnacle of the wrestling world.
I'd see her a little bit, sometimes once or twice a year. She was grinding. She was on the road. I was with my grandma.
A lot of girls didn't have children. A lot of the girls did not have children or they had them very late after their careers were over. Because you can't.
She lived in this little pink 1950s trailer that had like this porch addition to it. And I knocked on her door, and she had obviously been crying. Her eyes were all swollen. And I asked her what was wrong, and she said it was one of her son's birthday. And I didn't even know she had kids until that point. She did not talk about her kids mostly.
My mom hit the road. She had a dream, and she went and did it.
Make me hot.
A few months later, Luna is paired with WWF star Bam Bam Bigelow. While she is regularly appearing on national television, Luna rarely gets to showcase her in-ring skills.
At that time, there just wasn't a lot of emphasis on women's wrestling in WWE or in the United States as a whole. So the women who are really talented in the ring were often utilized as managers.
Luna was a real wrestler. She was a hardcore real wrestler, and she should never have been relegated to valet status.
I mean, we had 5 to 6 girls on a roster. That was our roster back in the day in the Federation. Really? Hi, my name is Deborah. Otherwise, my wrestling fans know me as Medusa.
To the outside!
There really wasn't a women's division. There wasn't anything they did really well with the women. It was a men's committee, just a men at a round table, circle jerking, not knowing what to do with women. Why don't we have our names on the freaking paper or the marquee and it was and more. We were and more half the time. It really pissed us off, you know. Luna and I did not like that at all.
The saying has always been the girls have to work 100% harder to just get 10% of the recognition. 90% of the guys were perfect gentlemen. They were fine. There's always that 10%. There's always 1 or 2 in the dressing room that's got to be a smart ass. And, you know, Luna would go around going, my clit's bigger than your fucking dick. You know, and those were things that she did.
I remember being in Canada and we were wrestling. And I said, Luna, you know, at this point, I don't give a shit. Let me drop the belt to you. She was like, I can't do that, man, I can't. I said, yeah, I'm gonna drop the belt. What are they gonna do? Fucking fire me? Okay, whatever. I am just so sick of them not doing anything further with us women, and especially you. And they don't have the audacity just one time in Canada, of all places, won't even drop you the belt? Really? I said, let's go. When we go home, we go bada bing, bada boom. Here's the comeback. Just quick, you know, roll me at 1, 2, 3. She goes, are you serious? You'd do that for me? I said, yeah, let's do it. I will lay down and give you the belt. And she just like fucking lost it. She was crying and she's like, I can't do it. I won't do it. I won't let them fire you over something like this. I remember I was just laying getting there for the 3 count, and she pulled me up and wouldn't do it, and I'm like, fucking just do it. She wouldn't do it. I tried. She never ever had the belt. She never had the title there.
Frustrated over the lack of opportunity for female wrestlers, Luna forges a bond with Sherry Martel, another skilled wrestler downgraded to manager status.
I stand just like any other good woman, Mean Gene. I'm gonna stand right by my man.
Sherry, let's go.
Yes, sir.
On her way, sensational Sherry.
She loved Sherry. She loved Sherry to death. They were friends. They traveled together. They was thick as thieves. They would come home, like, Luna would be asleep for like 3 days. And I could poke a stick at her, like, what's going on here? I knew nothing about pills or placidos or anything like that. So when I found out, like, she was taking these pills and it was Sherry and all that, I confronted her. It didn't go well. I think it was her darkest times. My personal opinion, where she was out of control, like, beyond, like, could have, you know, died. It was, like, just that bad.
Luna could have been right there at the top, you know, and there's no reason she couldn't have. It's just between the mental deficiencies of whatever it was that she had and the drugs.
They put me in rehab because I was drinking, and then when I got to rehab, they fired me.
Their excuse was, as they said, it's for her own good. They said they were always worried about her mental health. You know, they said it's for her own good.
Is there like positive stuff that you learned from growing up like this?
Yeah, don't do drugs. For real.
She probably chose her extracurricular activity into the drugs because of wanting just to forget. And it's like a facade. Sometimes you get so soaked up and just caught up into it all, and you get lost.
And she always would try to kill herself. She did it a couple times. Like, you ever see her wrists, they're big scars. It's weird. Like, you look at your mom like, why'd you do that? You know what I mean? Why would you do that?
Despite her personal struggles, Luna Vachon is recommended to burgeoning indie promotion ECW by her longtime friend Nancy Sullivan, aka Woman.
The ECW fans really embraced Luna. They had a way of seeing through the imposters and spotting the real deals, and they saw in her somebody that they could invest in emotionally, who could mix it up with the guys. And no one doubted that she could kick Stevie Richards' ass.
She was the queen of extreme. That was no bullshit. She was in her element.
Arguably, she could kick your ass, Nick.
She had a lot of fun, and then being a woman versus a man in a cage and being the first thing. She liked being the first at a lot of things and pushing the barriers and stuff like that.
Comes down across Richard. 1, 2, Luna makes history, winning the first ever intergender cage match.
I love teaming up with Luna. There's a photo of us like holding onto a steel cage and snarling. She could go anywhere in the world and she could entertain, and she could hold her own with anyone. And I'm including the men when I say anyone.
She's a devil in disguise!
In the late 90s, the WWF shift to increasingly provocative storylines would see Luna Vachon as a perfect addition to the roster, and she eventually rejoins the company. However, she's once again assigned a supporting role.
Now, just to have women as valets and stuff like that and being stifled and not being able to work, it would piss me off. You'd want to wrestle when you're a wrestler, right?
While Luna's pairing with Goldust eventually leads her back into the ring, she clashes with the WWF's new direction for women's wrestling. To make matters worse, Luna is set to lose a high-profile match to Sable, a model groomed for wrestling superstardom who has no experience in the ring.
Luna! You little bitch! She said, I don't have to learn to take bumps because Vince has told me I'm gonna be the women's champion.
Shut up, I'm reading.
Okay.
The way my psyche felt at that point, knowing the dues I had paid, how my family had stopped talking to me because I wanted to be a lady in this business. My children were growing up without me. I was growing up without them, all for wrestling. It tore me apart.
Sable wasn't a wrestler, and Sable was a beautiful woman. I mean, she probably still is, I don't know, but you know, she didn't want to walk around with a scratch or a scar or a bruise or anything like that. That wasn't what her gimmick was.
At WrestleMania 14, Luna succeeds in making Sable appear as a future women's champion.
Now let's get it on.
Now we're talking WrestleMania. This is the Super Bowl of wrestling. I was told by Vince McMahon, if I bruised or scratched her, I would be fine.
There's an enormous amount of pressure that goes into having a match with somebody who is relatively inexperienced. And so when you take a veteran like Luna, you are basically saying, we trust you to make this person look the very best they can.
She gets it through the match and everything. And Luna's like super stoked that she got it through, happy for the girl, you know, come back, she's happy for it. Luna comes back in and she sees Miss McMahon there and they're clapping. She thinks that they're clapping at her and telling her, great job, gal, you did it, you get it. They were looking over, it was Sable behind them.
I passed by and nobody said thank you, kiss my ass, or suck my dick.
You know, I tried talking to her, Luna, what's wrong? And she just broke down in tears. Nobody appreciates what I did. It hurt her. You know, she wanted to be acknowledged for being something other than strange. She wanted to be acknowledged for what she could do in the ring. And on that night, you know, we call it the grandest stage of them all. They had this barn burner of a match, and it really hurt her that she was not noticed for it.
Sonny came to Luna. And I think Sonny came to Luna in a nice way. I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. She's like, ah. So she get away from me, and then Sonny wouldn't get away from her. So I remember she just came up, threw her through a box, and put her into a production box, and just kept hitting her on top of the head, saying, I'm not punching her face, I'm not punching her face. Because she knew if she hit Sonny in the face, she'd be fired.
Poor Sonny never knew what hit her. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. But it was just Luna being really hurt and lashing out.
Nobody talked about mental health, but like at the same time, that was her gimmick too. So like, it wasn't a show. I can tell you it wasn't. I think it was all the same. There was no line. It was blurred lines, you know? Luna, Angel, Trudy, Mom.
No one spoke about that shit. You know what I mean? About people's mental illness or whatever. They saw and they were scared and they just didn't. That was it. Her just being not accepted in this business to a level where she thought she deserved it because of her skills and her as a worker and what she brought to this business.
Let's meet our contestants in the first ever Miss Rumble 2000 contest.
WWF's creative direction for women's wrestling is increasingly at odds with Luna's desire to showcase her in-ring prowess, making a final showdown with CEO Vince McMahon inevitable.
When the Attitude Era started, it was just all sexuality. I couldn't believe even Luna was putting up with that shit, really, because she was so old school like me.
She definitely felt pressured. She didn't feel pretty, you know? Now you got models around you. It can't feel good.
Did she say come and get it? About around here is where they'll start hitting that pause button on the tape.
They wanted Luna to take her top off, and she said, you spent all these years making me ugly, and now you're asking me to... And she stood up to Vince in front of everybody.
I guess what you see is what you get. Okay.
If you're asking my opinion, I don't know. They didn't fire her out and out for refusing to take that off and standing up to him. I think it waited like a week or two, and then they used that as the excuse to fire her.
After a number of backstage incidents and escalating erratic behavior, Luna is released from the WWF for the final time.
Dare to be different. Dare to have the balls to do the gimmick that I do and rip my vocal cords till I don't sound like a female. Just would do it. Take a bullet for Vince McMahon. Take a train hitting me for Vince McMahon. It had nothing to do with money. It didn't. It just has to do with me really caring about this business and caring about women in this business and seeing that, wanting it to be different.
When she got fired, came home, she goes, I'm in the bedroom, vampire. I actually just shook my head and kind of laughed when I seen this. So cocaine, she had written out, fuck you, Vince. And then she goes, watch. And she just started like, I'm like, oh, and then it was just downhill after that.
Yeah.
I mean, an easy night, an easygoing night could be, I don't know, a couple 8 balls, 10 hits of ecstasy, something like, yeah. Okay. I didn't understand her need to, like, gotta have more, I gotta get more, let's go get more. I'd be like, no, you know? That's ultimately what drove us apart.
He was smart enough to get out. That's how bad it was, yes. I remember him telling me that. He said he didn't have a choice. He had to. Otherwise, they'd both be dead.
When we talked, she would talk about getting back together sometimes. I said, we can't. So then I think what I did is I ran away as far as I could to California. Unfortunately, I got married and it wasn't the right thing to do. Like, just went and did everything I could not to come back.
She was in a lull, and she was, like, trying to be normal. She wasn't wrestling, she was a waitress. And there was a time Luna showed up at my house. She, like, is beating on the door. I open the door, she runs past me, and she's got a gun in her hand. I don't know where she got the gun. I don't know what, you know, is somebody chasing you? What, you know? And she's just talking crazy. I had to get the gun away from her. And I still never knew what happened, but she was frantic and she was crazy, you know, so I could never have anything like that around my kids. I was like, Luna, you know, I got these kids, and I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I said, I can't, you're not stable enough. That I was like, it's just not gonna work.
She wasn't in control of her entire life. And so there's this real feeling of gratification that comes from being able to hold a crowd in the palm of your hand.
Luna's sick. She's going up
I
top.
had high hopes
Maybe
for
you
that
don't
match.
have it all together the other 23 hours and 45 minutes of the day, but for that 15 minutes you're in the ring, you are completely in control. And that's a powerful feeling.
Lunar eclipse.
The biggest challenge that all of us who love it face is trying to find something that makes us.
I didn't take out extra time to really explain a whole lot about what Luna is doing, but, I think learning about her gimmick and learning about her as a person, we can kind of see, Luna had a problem with Wendy Richer. She can't really work in the ring, kind of a thing, and they went out there and did the thing, that Luna doesn't need much reason to attack somebody. She's a psycho.
Us feel the way we felt when we were in the ring. And, I don't know if Luna ever found that thing.
How did your relationship with your mom change after she left wrestling?
We didn't talk that much because I was in culinary school. I was in Texas. She was in Florida. I remember her driving a tow truck. She was hanging out with these bikers, these outlaw bikers. I don't know why.
Kaz is not.
She never even met my
that
daughter
level, man.
because I don't think she thought she was good enough. That's that mental illness,
Okay. Oof.
I talked to Luna for a final time just a few weeks before she left us.
That
I was
should have
so
been the main
surprised
event.
because she told
Damn.
me she was in a good place. It came as a shock.
How did you find out she passed away?
Still good.
Oh.
Still good.
I was flying to do a chef dinner in Ohio from Connecticut, and my grandma called and said,
100. We had a
she had
100,
just found my
y'all.
mom dead. That had
Fire
been a
on the
rough time
mountain.
for her.
Y'all.
You never want to see your kids, die before you.
Hold on. This snuck up on me. It's my season finale. I didn't book and prepare as much in the upcoming as I probably should have wanted to, but I just had my first ever, I think, 100 season finale show. A 100. This is a historic moment, y'all. Thank you for joining me for it. I want to thank Owen Hart. I want to thank Shawn Michaels. I want to thank Ric Flair. I want to thank Kurt Hennig. I only have enough room here to actually give thanks to 3 people backstage, but I think Ricky Steamboat should definitely be a part of it, and Jerry Lawler, because Kurt Hennig is already loyal to me, so he knows he did good. Nice. That's beautiful, y'all. A 100 season finale. Okay, I'll start it back up.
You do. I heard she choked, but then I also heard it was a overdose, the wrong mix of things. It could have been either one, honestly. I don't really care. She's not here anymore. That sucks. I don't really care how she died.
On August 27th, 2010, Luna Vachon's battles with addiction and mental illness finally come to an end.
The thing is to really love people and understand them while they are there. Nobody survives this way.
We've lost so many people in this business, for not just from drugs and pills and steroids, but from mental health, from just, I truly believe that there could have been a lot of help for a lot of talent in our business. We need to do better as an industry.
I remember just my heart aching. I was really hurting. And I really adored her. I thought that her family and her fans would appreciate a eulogy of sorts. And so I'd like to read this a little bit if I could. I said, in a world full of butterflies, it took balls to be a caterpillar. I loved that quote from Luna, and in a way I can't help but hope that this life was but a chrysalis of sorts for her. That for a woman who never seemed completely comfortable in her own skin, this life was just a prelude to becoming the beautiful butterfly God always meant for her to be. But that would be too easy and so anti-Luna. There are enough beautiful butterflies out there already. Maybe we should be able to appreciate the beauty of the caterpillar without needing or wanting it to change for our viewing pleasure. Maybe Luna was perfect just as she was. Maybe she was exactly who she was supposed to be.
She never thought she was pretty enough to be a wrestler. She never saw herself as beautiful. If you look at her eyes, they're green. She had the most beautiful eyes. If you looked into them, you know, but people just seen this Luna. They see this character and this persona, but they never seen Trudy or Angel, or, you know, looked in there and seen the innocence that's really in there, the innocence lost. People say, how did you stay together so long? And then I go, if you really want me to be honest, I was just worried nobody else could even take care of her. I love her so much, but like, should we have been together that long? No. Were we self-destructive and explosive and everything? Yes. But I feel a lot of guilt for her passing, you know, and like, I feel like I wasn't there to take care of her. Like, you know, maybe it was selfish on my end. It probably was selfish, but I don't think we're both going to make it. We would have both ended up in a dark fate. And I'm sorry, you know, tell her sorry for that too, because I miss her. You know, I'm sorry for being selfish like that.
You know, to not have a funeral, I think that was one of the hardest things for me to accept. When Luna passed, if it was Luna's choice, she would have had like a team of Harley Davidsons pulling down the streets of Tampa with her casket and, you know, firecrackers and fireworks and sparklers shooting out of it, and everybody would know. You know, they were all gonna come see her final hurrah.
No, she wouldn't have wanted that. That's not her style. She was private. She wanted to be left alone. She was good.
Any regrets? I wish that I would have changed things for women more. I regret that I gave up my family and didn't get what I wanted the most, and that was the WWF Women's title, which I guess basically isn't all that I thought it was.
Luna would have loved today's women's wrestling environment. She would have loved the physicality. She would have loved that she would get to work with some of the best wrestlers in the world on a nightly basis. Yeah, I think she'd be really happy to know how far women's wrestling has come. She was such a colorful character. She added so much to everything she was a part of. And she was great in the ring.
There's nobody like her. She's original, that's for sure.
If Luna were here today and she was talking to you, like if she was behind my shoulder with her hands on my shoulder, she'd look into the camera and go, "What the fuck's wrong with you? Why did you wait till I was fucking dead before you did anything about me? I should have had this done when I was alive. You could have come over and you could have talked to me. You would have had this little bitch imitating me."
Fair point.
That's what she would have said.
That's nice. Oh, shoot. All right, y'all. With the pre-show booked and the next round of the tournament advanced, we're going to end it there. Pick it up right there at the next one. Peace out, everybody. I should be on playing something a little bit later. But that does it for this episode of TEW Golden Age with the Dark Side of the Ring companion. Have a good one. Peace out, everyone.